I'm happy to share my process, absolutely. It's what I teach as well, because I de-engineered my own process of how I read so I could teach students to do it. There's 4 components to it. So the first component would be the system of self-care. So this is the most important part, because I need to really make sure I'm healthy, mentally sound, stable, physically fit, to be able to read as accurately as I do, because it's the foundation. If I'm not in a good state, I can't read. So that's the first process, really taking care of myself. The second process is like setting up for the reading itself. So what I've learned is I've come to a deep understanding of what makes me more psychic and what doesn't make me psychic. So I've created a process where I go through a system that helps me to be in a psychic state. So I've become the master at changing my state. And what this means is, because I'm reading full-time, like this is my full-time job, and I'm reading person after person, I can't wake up angry in the morning and then go do a bunch of readings. So I have to have a system I have to have a system where I'm changing my state so I can come into a very relaxed, grounded, neutral state of being, which means I need to acknowledge my mind, which is mental, and my physical needs, and bring them into, say, a state of harmony and acknowledgement. So if I wake up angry, stressed, sad, whatever, I have to go through a process to change the state to be neutral, grounded, ready, open. So that's the thing that happens before I do the reading. When I do the reading itself, now, my process of reading, when I first started, it's very different to what it is now. So I've constantly improved, grown, developed over time. So someone that saw me maybe 6 years ago comes and has a reading with me now, it'll be completely different. It'll be a whole other story. The process that I have now is, once I'm in that psychic state, obviously going through the niceties with the client, connecting with them, I'll get them to confirm the question. And sometimes when they give me the question, I'm like, that's not the right question, but not to dismiss them. It's just like, there's a deeper question underneath this that will answer more of what you're coming to me for. So then I'll tune into the question and then say back to them, how does this sound to you? And they'll be like, yes, that's it. So what I do then, once that's all been confirmed, is I'm energetically connecting to them. So what's happening in here is I've first established where my mind is. So it's all here, and the little girl, because my little girl wants to rescue everyone, wants everyone to like her, and wants to be friends with everyone. So I have to really watch her, because she'll tell everyone everything that everyone wants to hear, which means I'm not telling them the truth. So she's here with me, like sitting here with me. Then my angry teenager is here. And there's a couple of other parts of my mind that are in the background. So I really establish the connection with them, check in with them. Hey, how you all doing? Anyone got any issues? Then there's a psychic self. So my guide is always there. He's standing there. So if I ever get in trouble and I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just like, hey, buddy, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. So I'll establish him. And then lastly, there's the observer. So the observer is the part of the mind that I create to observe everything. Because I need something to be observing if my mind's interfering, projecting information, having an emotional experience, if I'm triggered or activated. Because that will affect how I connect with the psychic information. Once all of this is established, then what I'm doing is I'm casting a magician circle. So I'm in my psychic astral space, and then myself is split. So there's a version of me that's the psychic version, and then there's the version of me that's the person delivering the information. The psychic version of me will draw the circle around myself, and as she's doing this, she will tell me all the information about the person. And it'll be like, dun, 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 this. I'm like, all right. Then she draws a line to the other person and then draws a circle around them. So there's a few different mechanics in this. I'm settling the mind, acknowledging the mind, establishing the psychic information, how it's going to come in. Then the magician circle is the protection. And then I'm drawing a line. I'm also protecting my client too. With this energetic connection, I'm then moving them into an astral space to read them. So I'm moving their subconscious mind into a space that's safe. The way psychic information comes through to me is very violent, very graphic. And I give my clients a warning about this. I'm like, my mind's really dark, it's really violent. It's not a representation of you. It's how I read information. Because I share with them everything that's coming in, because sometimes it's literal, sometimes it's metaphorical, and I don't know the difference. So I'll say, just tell me if this is actually happening or this is how I'm interpreting it. So I'm always checking in with the client with the information as well. I'm inviting them to be part of the process because I want them to tell me if they think it's inaccurate. Because I want them to say, hey, that's not right, because I've either misinterpreted it, I jump too far ahead sometimes, or I just haven't articulated it in a way that makes sense to them. So I get them to say, hey, Raya, that's not right. Cool, let's go back. Let's see what I've missed. And then I go through the process of, so I'll talk to their mind. So the most dominant part of their subconscious mind will come forward first. And they're not always nice. The subconscious mind is like a war zone. Sometimes the mind will want to attack me, hit me, stab me, punch me, yell at me, like all these different things that the subconscious mind does. But the way the mind interacts with me is a pattern. It tells me about what the information is the subconscious mind wants the conscious person to know. The thing that you're experiencing is connected to this part of the subconscious. And then I'll talk to that part of the mind and work out how long ago that happened. This happened when you were 4 because of this, and this is what's stuck. This is what's stopping you from doing da, 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 da. Then I'm connecting with their spiritual guide. So I work out what the problem is, what's really happening from a subconscious perspective, talk to them about it. How does this feel? Hold space for that. Make sure they're okay with the information. I'm very gentle. There's no judgment. But I have to be, like, I can't always tell everyone everything because some of it's hard to go into. And I guess that's a whole other story. But I'm always checking in with their guide. Hey, what do you want me to tell them with what I'm saying? And they'll say this, and then later you can bring that in. But it's almost like this process of like delivering information where it can be heard. Because we all think we want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. I want to be authentic. But then when you get the truth and you get authenticity, sometimes you're like, fucking, I don't want to know that. Get away from me. Go away. And this is why I only do it in a professional setting, because people have to pay me to do this. I'm not going to walk around and just tell you because it's not fun. Anyway, so as I'm giving people information, I'm checking in with their guides. So there's usually 2 or 3 guides, but there's always one dominant guide. Sometimes people's HGAs will show up too. But that's if you're an occultist, I can talk to HGAs and then they tell me stuff as well. But just for general readings, it's usually the guides, and then I'll talk to the guides about the information that they want to tell the person, how to tell them. And the guides will usually give me something really concrete, like they'll tell me something that's in their house or that they did yesterday or a phrase they always say to really hit it in. So they've got evidence that I'm not full of shit, and so the mind can't push it away. And then it's a process of what's happening emotionally, subconsciously, and then the guides are giving the person the practical steps onto how to care for the information that's come up. Because I have warnings all over my website and social media about if you have a reading with me, this isn't oh my God, am I going to get a boyfriend? This is, do you want to know what your true purpose is here and how to reach it, achieve it? And some people do, some people don't. Some people think they do, but then they get the information and they don't. So that's the process that I go through. And there's always a constant co-creation. So because I work with a lot of, like, I'm a psychics come see me and say, Raya, help me see this. I'm also inviting them to be part of it. Like, what's intuitively happening for you? What are you feeling? What's coming up for you? How does that information land? So it's a very rich, wholesome experience because I'm including them in it. I'm delivering it in a way that can be received, so it's not judgmental. They're not being judged at all. And then their guides are coming in and giving them very practical information so that they can apply it in their everyday life. Because I'm not going to give them a bunch of bullshit where they just go away and say, hey, just love yourself, it'll be fine. Because that's not the reality, because if that was the reality, we would have all done it by now. So that's my process. And during this process, a lot of the times I'll be checking in with my own mind. So I say to them, hey, you'll hear me just say this. My mind's having an opinion. So sometimes the information I get activated, or my mind wants to come in and rescue the person because I feel sorry for them for what they've experienced. Like I want to care for them. But I have to be really hyper vigilant of that and then care for it and then come back to only psychic information because I'm not a therapist and I don't want to give people my own opinion. I want to purely give them psychic information. So that's generally the process that I go through when people come to see me, and they can come and see me for specific things. So sometimes people just want to talk to their guides and I'll do that. Sometimes mediumship, but I do mediumship, but it's not my specialty. And sometimes they just want me to tell them how they can change something in their life.
I find that interesting that you said that you've, like with magicians, you'll get their HGAs.
Yeah.
Is that a little bit more of a better experience than sometimes other maybe guides?
Oh, what an interesting question.
Because, well, you always assume that somebody's HGA is probably like, a more spiritual advancement of themselves. So I'm assuming maybe you get nicer answers or something nicer to deal with. I don't know.
For me, it actually makes me feel high. So when I connect to a HGA, it's a nicer experience for me because I'm like, oh, it pulls me up so high. The higher I go, the higher I feel. And it's like this really nice, like, oh, feeling. So I actually like connecting to HGAs. That's when I know it's a HGA because the guides are very funny characters, but it's on the same kind of playing field. But with the HGAs, it's this whole other state of consciousness and it's like being high on drugs.
Nice. All right, get a free one then.
Free one without the consequences, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.